This week, Pablo Zurro from Fortra is with us to discuss the practice of pen testing. Then Travis Howerton from RegScale joins us to talk about RegOps and the need for compliance automation. Finally, in the enterprise security news, CyberReason raises $100 million. Lots of funding, 6+ companies coming out of stealth, probably because RSA is around the corner. Awesome new newsletters, awesome new reports. FDA will start rejecting medical devices with bad security. Operation Cookie Monster. Criminal doesn't realize Metasploit is free. Security and IT professionals pressured to keep breaches quiet. The latest trends in AI, and are there too many vendors at RSA? All that and more in this episode of Enterprise Security Weekly.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network. Broadcasting live from G-Unit Studios in Rhode Island, it's the show where we talk security vendors and aren't afraid to name names. It's Enterprise Security Weekly.
When organizations face poor web performance, challenges building modern applications at scale, or need to reduce operational and development costs, they turn to Fastly. Fastly's distributed edge network means your business can unleash its growth potential without worrying about scaling your infrastructure, whether for growth of users, transaction volume, or geographic expansion. Get the speed, security, and edge cloud innovation you need to deliver profitable and engaging experiences. Visit securityweekly.com/Fastly for more information or to speak to an expert. Welcome to Enterprise Security Weekly and happy National Boricaniers Day. Gus will let me know if I said that right. This is episode 313, recorded on Thursday, April 13th, 2023. I'm your host, Adrian Sanabria, and joining me is the Czar of Zero Trust, the captain of content, Katie Teitler. Been a while since I've seen you, Katie.
I know, it's been such a long time. I've missed you, Adrian. I really have.
We did a pre-record for RSA Week yesterday. So we just did this whole show yesterday, but you're not going to see it until April 27th if you're watching or listening to this.
But I'm going to get the day right this time. Yesterday, I screwed up your whole national whatever day by thinking we were talking about the day that was yesterday instead of the day that it will be aired. So I promise I won't foil you.
Yeah, I got confused too. I remember doing the prep call with the folks that we interviewed on that episode, and for half the prep call, I was telling them it was a live podcast. And thankfully, before the end of that prep call, I realized, oh no, that's right, we're going to pre-record this. It's not going live until 2 weeks later. So yeah, it's we don't pre-record often, but so it threw us all for a little bit of a loop.
It's all good, all good.
Also joining us is the Baron of Bloodhound, the Pirate King of PowerShell. We haven't seen you in a while, Sean Metcalf. How are you?
Doing good, Adrian. You know, got a bunch of things in the hopper and working on some stuff behind the scenes and took some vacation. So it's good to relax poolside and avoid a computer for a while, reconnect with the natural world, get some sun and some good swimming time in. So, yeah, it's good. So what day is today and what does that mean?
The Boricaniers, during the Korean War, the 65th adopted the nickname the Boricaniers, which honors so Boricane is the Taino word for Puerto Rico. And so this was a division of the army, I believe it is, that's entirely made up of Puerto Ricans. And so they shut it down after World War II and then brought it back for the Korean War. And yeah, it's just highlighting their service, and that division has more than 2,700 Purple Hearts, 600 Bronze Stars, 250 Silver Stars, 9 Distinguished Serve Crosses, and 1 Medal of Honor. So it's
that's fantastic.
It's a big deal, really, I guess. Great. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I was hoping it was National Cheesecake Day, and apparently it's not. But I will eat some cheesecake in honor of the Buccaneers. So.
And it's only the third year. This became an official, like, at the federal level, National Day in 2021. So this is only the third year for it. Yeah, usually we do something silly, but me and Gus are Puerto Rican, so I felt like I felt obligated to include this one. And I've got a bunch of cousins and relatives who served. Though I don't know if I have any that served in the Korean War. I know right off the top of my head, my cousin Nelson, my cousin Wally served in Vietnam. So I don't know about the Korean War, but I've got tons of cousins down there in Puerto Rico and all over, really.
Excellent.
All right, a quick announcement. Join us at an upcoming official cybersecurity summit in a city near you. This series of one-day invitation-only executive-level conferences are designed to educate senior cyber professionals on the latest threat landscape. We are pleased to offer our listeners $100 off admission when you use code SECWEEK23 to register. Visit securityweekly.com/cybersecurity summit to learn more and register today. And one of those I know is in Nashville because I've got some local security folks I know here in the community who are going to that one. All right. Our first interview today is sponsored by Fortra. And today's topic is the practice of pen testing, 2023 survey results revealed. I'm very excited about this because this pen test is, or this survey is focused on pen testers themselves, on getting feedback from folks who buy pen tests, but people who also do pen tests. So I'm really excited about digging into this one. And today we're excited to have Pablo Zurro yet again. He's been on the show, I think, at least 2 other times. He's the cybersecurity product manager at Fortra, where he focuses specifically on core security cyber threat prevention solutions. Welcome to the show, Pablo.
Thank you, Adrian. Nice to be here again. I don't have Puerto Rican cousins. Here I am.
I'm sure you have cousins, though.
Yeah, I have. They I think none of them left Spain, so we're all here around.
Yeah. We my lineage eventually goes back to Spain, but you have to go back a couple hundred years, I think. But yeah,
nice.
My name Sanabria comes from Spain. There's a part of Spain where there's
there's a lake.
Lago de Sanabria and Pueblo de Sanabria, right?
Mm-hmm. It's close to my hometown.
So was I correct in my description of the survey here? Who were the respondents to this survey? Let's just make sure I got that correct. First of all.
Yeah. So basically, we send it to a lot of pen testing practitioners, so especially pen testers that fill it from all the community of users of Core Impact. But we also survey many of the companies that are customers of Fortra, even if they are not customers of our own pen testing services or products. So we have more than 30,000 customers. Not all of them answered, but we have a really bunch piece of data to be able to process from all over the world, from a lot of company sizes, and also from different job levels. So basically, we have like a lot of managers answering, some C-level, some directors, some pen testers themselves, and in the company size, we have like a third of it is small companies with less than 100 people, but all the rest is bigger than that, and having 60% of really huge companies with more than 10,000 people. So yeah, it's the scope of the survey is pretty wide, and we think that we have good answers to share today.
Yeah, and the total respondents I remember was a significant size, right? I forget exactly how many responded to the survey.
Yes, I don't know if I have it in front of me, but it was a big number. I think we have it in the whole big report that we'll share after the interview, and it was pretty huge.
Yeah. All right. So let's dig in here. So I think one of the cool things about doing a report like this, Pablo, is that once you've done it for a couple of years, you can start comparing things. And this is the fourth year that you've done it. So let's start there. What are some of the biggest and I think most surprising changes that you've seen this year compared to previous years?
So one of the it's interesting to see it, because as with 4 years we already have historical data. We one of the questions that we ask is how important is penetration testing to your organization's security posture. And what we saw is that there's some people who see it less important. So the important part of the important answer dropped a bit, but the somewhat important raised a bit. So yeah, there's we have like the same number of important plus somewhat important. So it's like some companies that are thinking that it's a bit less important that it was, but so that's a bit weird. And we also saw that the confidence of the organization security posture dropped like 15%. So this is also strange, because we see all over the world that pen testing is like a standard security practice that most of the people is doing, and seeing this drop in confidence, I think it's even a good thing, because having a good pen test doesn't mean you are secure, and seeing this feeling also in the community is a bit reassuring, because they are taking other actions to protect themselves. So probably it's that reduction of the confidence. I think it's due to more awareness, or also the possibly due to the increase in ransomware, increase in attack vectors, more activity. So it seems like everybody's talking about that. Cybersecurity is becoming something like mainstream. So the companies, even if they are doing everything that they need to do and they are doing pretty good pen testing, they feel like less confident on having everything under control. So those were like the things that I would highlight.
Right. And that was yeah, and it's interesting also looking at just their security concerns in general, right? You know, like it's interesting because we look at a lot of other reports on this podcast, and one of them that came out recently is it's specific to the U.S., but it's the like the amount of fraud and crime that has been reported to the IC3. I forget what the FBI's IC3 stands for, but they have numbers on ransomware and BEC, and BEC is like 2 or 3 times bigger than ransomware, but ransomware it looks like ends up at the top of this list. It looks like last year it was number 2, and this year it's number 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like everybody's talking about that. So if you look at the news, everybody's talking about ransomware. Every company could get ransomed, and the BEC, the business email compromise, it's something that is more targeted. So it's probably the big companies are like more aware that this is a big issue. That right now ransomware is everywhere. There's ransomware as a service attacking like everybody. And if you click the button and you're inside a company, whatever the size, or even if you're an individual, you can get part of your data encrypted, and they ask a ransom for you. So it's like for the main audience, it's probably like a bigger worry, the ransomware, and there's more talk about it. But yeah, also BEC is really huge for big companies. So that's why doing those phishing simulations and those phishing security awareness trainings are important.
You know, we got a question in from the audience, a really good question that you actually have a good answer for, I think, in Figure 3. And the question is, how important is remediating your findings from a pen test to you? And some interesting insights there.
To me, it's the most important thing after penetration testing, because otherwise it's completely useless.
What's the point?
If you can't, or if you don't remediate those findings, you will have the same report on the next pen test, and it doesn't help for anything else than checking the compliance box, which is something that we're seeing in some cases. But it's true that it's one of the big challenges in the organizations. Sometimes they hire a third-party company to do the pen test because they don't have the internal resources. But when they get the report, they don't have either the internal resources to remediate that. And this is like we saw that it's the biggest challenge of the organization when they face the penetration testing program. So a lot of them don't do pen tests directly because they know that they won't be able to remediate the issues uncovered. So they prefer to be blind and than knowing what happens without being able to remediate them. And that's a bit worrying because at the end, your security posture will go down, and you will be worse and worse every year.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard that, especially with new product categories too, where the security leaders say, "Man, I wish you hadn't shown me this." But yeah, so in Figure 3, I think the really interesting thing is you've got these two that these two responses that swapped places between 2022 and 2023. You've got lack of qualified third parties to do the testing was the number one pen testing challenge in 2022, and it dropped from 45% to 30%. But then replacing it, you have lack of resources to act on findings and perform remediation, jumping from 35% to 58%. That's a huge jump.
Yes, I think it's due to that. So the awareness that pen testing is important is there. So the companies know that it's important to do it. There are companies doing great pen tests, and there's a lot of there's actually this is a business that is growing. There's a lot of consultancy companies, security consultancy companies doing that, and they are improving their methodologies, and they are providing better and better results. And now that this is there and that it's available for companies, the ball is back into the companies hiring those third parties, because they cannot use the actionable data provided in the report, and that's why we think that they are worrying about that. So it's now that they have the ball back on their side, they don't have resources in their security teams or in their IT teams to do anything with them. So they put them on the table and they just wait until they have something to do.
Yeah, let's see what else. Sean or Katie, anything jump out at you here?
Absolutely. So, Pablo, given that the remediating efforts around pen tests and other security assessment results is challenging across organizations, and I've heard from many pen testers that they do a pen test, they deliver the report, they come back, 6 months later, 12 months later, what have you, and then they get the same results or similar results. So this is obviously a challenge. What do you think that consultants can do better to improve remediation success?
I think that what they can do there is during the process of the pen testing, instead of waiting until the report, I think it's better to have these consultants as a trusted partner during the process. So that consultant should be able, during the pen test, to guide you on and to help the company, actually the customer, to understand what's going on, what are the problems that they're finding. I would try to help those teams to even remediate the finding during the test instead of waiting until the report, and changing a bit that approach. So instead of going there, sitting in front of the computer, trying to break everything and then provide a report, I think it's better to scope the pen test together with the target company, and have ongoing efforts during the test to help those blue teams to improve their processes and to remediate the findings during the way. So that would make it easier. The consultant, the pen tester, would be like a trusted partner for the company, and it will be easier for both to improve their security posture. So I think that would be a good approach.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so certainly when so I work for a security services company, and certainly we really take that approach of partnering with the customer and ensuring that we can work with them as a trusted partner. Do you see that customers are shifting from pen tests to more purple team engagements, which really aligns with what you just mentioned, where they're kind of working hand in hand and getting results sooner in order to resolve them, so that during the engagement they can test to ensure that those things have been resolved, or even full team or full term red team assessments instead. Have you seen any shifts in that area?
To me, it's not a shift, but it's a complement. So if you don't have good penetration testing results, the red teaming or purple teaming exercise would be a bit useless, because they will find the easy gaps and the low hanging fruit really easily. So at the end, it's like paying a lot or putting a lot of effort and doing a sophisticated engagement when you're not ready. So first, I would this is like the usual progression. So if you don't have a vulnerability management program or a vulnerability scans running every now and then, it's a bit useless to go to a penetration testing, because you will find like really easy to exploit vulnerabilities. If you're not doing penetration testing, you will probably have some gaps and some easy to find misconfigurations on your big attack surface. And once you have that covered, I think it makes sense to do a red teaming or a purple teaming engagement to learn what are really your gaps that could be exploited by an APT, and do this advanced learning in the during the engagement. So I think that's they are complements. So if you're doing red teaming or purple teaming exercises without doing the previous phases, I don't think you will get really great results from it.
So obviously, a lot of different types of testing are important for an organization. You can't just do one type of testing. But what's a good balance, between, things like vuln scans, pen test, automated red teaming, because there are a lot of options, and it can get kind of confusing for companies who are just at their initial stages of testing. But you don't want to have a company have a bad experience. So what kind of things would you recommend? What types of combinations? What's the frequency? Are there any gotchas before a company starts to implement more of a continuous testing schedule, which incorporates some of the live testing as well?
So to me, the first step, if they don't have anything, it's to establish a vulnerability management program. So to have a vulnerability scanner running maybe, I don't know, weekly on every asset, because they are rotating. So to have it, if it's a small company, probably they can do it even daily. But I don't know if it makes a lot of sense if they are not changing anything. If it's an infrastructure that changes a lot, it makes more sense to do them more often. But I think that a weekly or even monthly vulnerability scanner would be okay. For the penetration testing, as the idea is to cover the gaps of the scanner, trying to use misconfigurations also besides exploits. I think it would be nice to have a check quarterly. If you're, I don't know, you could do like continuous pen testing, but changing the scope, and you would be pen testing every day, but different asset groups. So the same group of assets, I think it would be interesting to test it every quarter, and then the red teaming or purple teaming exercises. It depends on the assets that you have and the criticality of them. But I think that having one exercise, like a long one, because red teaming exercises or purple teaming exercises are long and sophisticated. I think that having it once a year, it would be okay. So yeah, it depends. At the end, the vulnerability scanner is the most basic thing. So it will check the versions of the products that you have, and if they have vulnerabilities, it will report them, and then you probably have some kind of patch management process to be able to patch and to apply fixes to the assets. So that would be like the basic thing that everybody has to do. Pen testing would be like once that's established, so a bit more sophisticated and a bit more, you go a bit deeper because you try to really access the systems and try to get advantage on that. And once you have that and your attack surface is more under control, I would go to red teaming or purple teaming exercise to really test the people that is working in your organization and the processes that you have set in place. Which at the end, it's a goal of those like sophisticated engagements. So to me, vulnerability scanners and pen testing are to test technical things, technical controls, and the yeah, technical status of the machines. And red teaming or purple teaming are more testing your company processes and the people, the, the detection and response processes of the security teams.
So on a related but slightly different now, you've mentioned attack surface a couple of times. Are there certain things, the attack surface is expanding, are there certain things that you and your team are finding more challenging today because of what's going on with the attack surface? Any interesting stories there?
So there, what we're seeing after COVID is that the office doesn't exist anymore in most cases, and the office is everywhere. So now, before 2020, you managed to fish somebody working in the headquarters, and it was kind of easy to get access to the rest of the network, and you were there. Now it's slightly more difficult, so you probably need to compromise the VPN, or you need to be able to steal some cloud access tokens to be able to impersonate that person and reach the cloud systems. There's also the cloud is there, so the people have a hybrid environment, so that makes it a bit more challenging. So depending on what you want to attack, before the attack surface was much smaller than it is now. So now there are devices everywhere, people working from anywhere, and it makes it a bit more challenging to jump to the critical assets. But at the end, once you're in, you're in. You get persistence, and you can do the same things that you were doing before. Also, there's each time more security awareness, so the companies are trying to protect themselves better. EDRs and antiviruses have evolved a lot, so it's much more difficult to evade them. So you need to work more on that than before. But at the end, everything is possible. So the people thinking 8 hours per day or 20 hours per day on how to breach you, they will manage eventually. So it's better that they don't look at you, because if they look at you, you will be a target, and they will eventually break your defenses.
Right. It just takes time and energy, right? So earlier you were speaking about the maturity of organizations. So when would they look at getting a pen test? So as the organization works through vulnerability management and some of the other items around maturity, they get to the point where, okay, we're ready for a pen test. So let's say they know that they're ready for a pen test now, and they're looking for a security assessment like that. What are the key items that they should be looking at, and what type of questions should they ask the pen test provider to ensure that they're getting what they need, what they really want out of that engagement?
So to me, the questions, there are questions that the pen tester should ask too. So it's to me the planning part of the pen test is like the most important part of it. So you need to define a good scope. So it's impossible to test like the whole network. Even for a pen test or for a red teaming engagement, it's even more important for a red teaming or purple teaming engagement to do that. But during the planning phase, the customer needs to understand what are the limits. So the pen tester should, or the customer should ask the pen tester, what are they going to do without details? What are the assets that they are targeting? What are the goals of the customer? What are the crown jewels in the company? What are the most important systems that they want to protect and that they want to test? If there are any assets that cannot be touched during the pen test because it's really critical for the business, and if they break it, the business doesn't work anymore. So that should be pretty clear. And even if they don't understand, if the customer, or at least the part of the customer, the white team at the end should understand everything the pen testers or the red teamers will do. So they need to understand the techniques that they will use. They need to explain the teams what are the most important parts of the company, the most critical parts of the company that they want to test and validate. And and also they need to understand the working methodology of the pen testers or red teamers. If they are working on their own and then providing a report, or they will be working together in the process, or if they will be meeting, I don't know, every week to see the progress. So it's to me it's really important in that questioning phase to understand how the pen testers will proceed, what is the information that you're going to get back, and to clarify what are the limits of the test. So it's with that, if they have that clear, also the type of pen test that they want to do, if it's external, if it's internal, if it's cloud, if it includes phishing simulations, if it doesn't. So they need to clarify all that, also the technologies that they want to they want to test. So that would be like the first phase, the most important one for me, and the one that when it finishes, everybody should be happy with the result. So they should feel, the two parties should feel that that everything's okay to start the pen test.
Thank you for that. That makes a lot of sense. And kind of a follow up to that, everyone's been looking at AI and what that actually means to, for potentially changing the landscape around pen testing and other security services. How do you see where AI things like ChatGPT, AutoGPT, and similar is changing things for pen test engagements, or potentially could actually shift what's being done and how it's being done in the near future?
I think that when we did the survey, the ChatGPT was pretty new, so it's not there yet. But we think it will be really important, especially for phishing, vishing, and all that kind of practices. At the end, it's now with ChatGPT, it's really easy to write an email that is not the Nigerian prince, that story, that something that feels real. And with just a sentence, you can have this mail. Some weeks ago, Microsoft said that they have a technology that could replicate the voice with just a recording of 2 seconds, so that for phishing is crazy. So you could be able to call somebody uh, mimicking the voice of somebody else and say whatever you want. So that makes defense more difficult and a priori. So we think that there's something there. I don't know how much it has been exploited until now. There's also some people writing polymorphic malware and code changing dynamically with using ChatGPT. So we're seeing there that there are opportunities for both testing and for the bad guys to do that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think there's something there. I don't know where it will bring us, because it's something that it's starting, but we're already seeing the bad guys using that, and I think it's something that should be mimicked in the pen testing or red teaming engagements too. Because at the end, with these kind of tests, we're trying to simulate what those nefarious actors are trying to do, and if they are using those technologies. So it's something that should be also tested in the security assessments that are done.
Great,
Yeah,
thank you.
I'm sure. I'm sure pen testers are playing with it. Like, the first thing that occurred to me, like I think about, like, what are you searching for during a pen test? Like what's the default credentials for a Siemens, XK1000, or just making stuff up. But I'm sure, because it can spit out code. Like I've seen detection engineering use cases where it says, write me code that the YAML for a SIM to detect this kind of attack or something like that, and it just spits it out. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure from a pen testing use case, you can have it spit out some code that you need, like right when you need it. So that could be interesting.
Yeah, also questions that you normally ask to Google. I don't know, if you're doing reconnaissance, the nmap commands are much easier to write with ChatGPT. So you ask, give me a command with nmap that does a scanner of this IP range, being stealth, and just checking this port range, and it does it right away without having to search in cheat sheets or anything. So for that, it can speed up the work a lot.
So, one thing I didn't see, a word I didn't see in here, there's a lot around quantity of pen tests, frequency of pen tests, stuff like that. I didn't see, and like I said, I didn't get through all of it, but just scanning it, I didn't see anything really around the quality of a pen test. And that kind of goes along with a question we got from, well, I guess maybe it's two different things. So first, a question we got from the audience was kind of around standardizing on findings, on remediation guidance. So, like, are we seeing any trend where, like, obviously, if one finding, the recommendation is implement zero trust, and another finding, the recommendation is, make the simple configuration change. How easy is it to sort your findings by, how difficult it is to remediate things? Are you seeing any work to kind of standardize the language around remediation? Like, I know there's a lot of reporting tools, a lot of pen tester tools that have like canned language for this. But how easy is it to, like, say, sort my findings by, how low-hanging fruit, by easy stuff to fix, right?
Yeah. So for that, I think that the easiest ones to solve are vulnerabilities. So if there are findings related to CVEs, normally there's always a patch, and the solution is to patch the machine to update it to the latest version. That would be like the easy to fix ones, but sometimes it's also complicated. So if it's business critical systems, they don't want to stop them to patch them, and they could be with an old version forever, and it will be found every time in a pen test. So that would be something kind of easy. So just updating to the latest version. So that would be like the lowest hanging fruit. Then I would say easy misconfigurations. So if there's something wrong on Active Directory, or you have tools like Bloodhound or or others that could give you uh, the the attack path that you could follow to go from a user with low privileges to a one with high privileges, and during the pen test you're using those misconfigurations to reach to get the domain controller account, the domain admin account.
Yeah.
That would be something pretty easy to solve too, because at the end you need
Right.
to
And,
cut
and,
like the path.
and those are good examples, but I think the question was more around: are you seeing any standardization on consistency of responses? Like maybe one pen tester tells you to fix something one way versus another pen test telling you another way to do it. That's maybe more complicated or unnecessary even. So just standardization, like between pen testers, like consistency. Like if I get a pen test from one company and a pen test from another, and they have the same findings, like the recommendations for remediation, how close are those going to be to how similar are those going to be?
I think there won't be very different. So what we're saying is that the same, that the finding doesn't have many ways to remediate it. Good ones actually, because you could, like, I don't know, if there's if they manage to access through a port because there was a vulnerability or whatever, or a misconfiguration, some pen tester could ask you to close a port, but if you need it for your business, uh, you cannot do that. So there should be other options. I don't think that's a good option, but if the team is good, they will. And the two good teams with the same findings, I think they would provide the same kind of answers, or the remediation paths. At the end, I don't know, a solution like implement zero trust, it's too wide. It's really difficult to implement zero trust. Actually, you can implement in a subset of critical assets, but implementing it in the whole company, it's really complicated.
Yeah, a lot of factors. Before we wrap up the conversation, I want to make sure we get to like the most interesting bits of the report. To you, is there anything else from the report that you thought was really interesting that we haven't talked about yet?
There's something that we're seeing, and I think it's a there's one fact that is fun in the report that I don't think it's I don't know if the question was not too well understood, or there was like a misunderstanding on the how often does your organization pen test. So there's like an 8%, a 16% actually of the organizations doing daily or weekly pen tests. So that to me it's virtually impossible
It's got to be like an automated tool, right?
Yeah, it should be like an automated tool, and to me that's not pen testing. It's breach and attack simulation or whatever,
right?
Other thing like that. The pen test, it has a human factor that you cannot, and a human need, they need to take decisions. It takes time to do a pen test. So doing a pen test daily or even weekly is virtually impossible. So we had like a couple of theories here. So one is that they are not doing pen testing, some of them, and the other option could be that they are constantly doing pen testing in the company, but like changing the assets they are pen testing. So there's a pen testing team working every day, basically doing pen testing on different assets. So they are busy during the whole year doing pen tests every day. So that one, maybe we need to clarify it for
And
the next year, because I don't know if we have the correct answer.
yeah, so if I can make a suggestion, and this is, if you didn't have anything to bring up, this is exactly what I was planning on bringing up, because continuous pen testing has been a term thrown around, and I have seen some commercial offerings where the idea is that you do, there's a few companies out there, I forget what they call it, but it's based on attack surface management, where you have an automated tool looking for things that are interesting. So the automated piece is finding these kind of nuggets, without wasting anybody's time. And when they find something that looks interesting, they hand it off to a human. And it's kind of like they're just pen testing that. It's like a mini pen test, basically, on this one thing that's discovered. And just whenever those things pop up, and this is an external firm that you would hire to just do this year round. And they just go pen test that one thing, and they write up that one thing, that one finding, if it is a concern. And I thought that was kind of an interesting way. Like, I think it's still more expensive than just like a point in time pen test, but not significantly more expensive. Like they have it priced to where companies can afford to hire a company to do this, year round.
Yeah, it's something that it's interesting. At the end, it's like an extended vulnerability scanner, I would say. So the vulnerability scanner is for the internal network, is doing exactly that. So it's looking for things that are not properly configured or properly updated in the internal network. And this attack surface management, it's like more holistic, I would say. So it's testing all your external surface, and especially web applications or ports that you have open to the wide. And when it finds something, it gives you an alert, and it allows to do a deeper analysis. So that's also an interesting tool, and another complement to pen testing gigs or to red teaming gigs.
Yeah, so my suggestion for this one, you were referring to figure number 9 with the pen testing frequency, is maybe next year, I think it would be interesting to also know for each of those what portion is external versus internal testing.
Yeah, so probably we can mix the one that we have in slide 8, I think it is. Yeah, 8, where we're asking about against what infrastructure do you regularly conduct pen testing, if it's external and internal cloud. So probably we can mix it with that one, and understand which part of the.
I meant internal team versus external vendor.
Okay, so third parties is once.
Yeah. But yeah, what you said too, right? like both of those, I think, would be interesting to run up against, like how frequently you're doing it. So maybe that's 3 different questions. What's your pen testing frequency for internal team versus external team or external firm, and also, like ASM stuff, like external scanning versus, or external pen testing versus internal assets, I guess is the better way to say it. Yeah. Good stuff. Well, now I'm looking forward to next year's already.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait a year, but it passes really fast. So last year we were here presenting it, and next year came really fast with ChatGPT and a lot of new things that we'll have to see how they evolve during the next year, and we'll probably have something related to that, or something even newer that pops up during the next month that could be interesting to highlight.
Things are moving so fast.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, thank you so much, Pablo, for joining us on Enterprise Security Weekly today. We will definitely see you again in the near future, and probably again for the next version of this report.
Thank you. So it was a pleasure to be here as usual. Thank you.
Make sure you visit securityweekly.com/Fortra Core Security to learn more. There is a link there where you can grab this report and you can comb through it yourself at your leisure. And stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to talk compliance automation with Travis Howerton from RegScale.